The 12 steps do not work as a program of recovery from drug or alcohol problems. The AA failure rate ranges from 95% to 100%. Sometimes the AA success rate is actually less than zero, which means that AA indoctrination is positively harmful to people and prevents recovery. Some tests have shown that even receiving no treatment at all for alcoholism is much better than receiving AA treatment. One of the most enthusiastic boosters of Alcoholics Anonymous, Professor George Vaillant of Harvard University, who is also a member of the Board of Trustees of Alcoholics Anonymous World Services, Incorporated, AAWS, showed by his own 8 years of testing of AA that AA was worse than useless, that it didn't help the alcoholics any more than no treatment at all, and it had the highest death rate of any treatment program tested, a death rate that Professor Vaillant himself described as appalling. While trying to prove that AA treatment works, Professor Vaillant actually proved that AA kills. After 8 years of AA treatment, the score with Dr. Vaillant's first 100 alcoholic patients was 5 sober, 29 dead, and 66 still drinking. Nevertheless, Vaillant is still a trustee of Alcoholics Anonymous, and he still wants to send all alcoholics to AA anyway, to get an attitude change by confessing their sins to a high-status healer. That is cult religion, not a treatment program for alcoholism. The AA dropout rate is terrible. Most people who come to AA looking for help in quitting drinking are appalled by the narrow-minded atmosphere of fundamentalist religion and faith healing. The AA meeting room has a revolving door. The therapists, judges, and parole officers, many of whom are themselves hidden members of AA or NA, continually send new people to AA, but those newcomers vote with their feet once they see what AA really is. Even AA's own triennial surveys, conducted by the AA headquarters, the GSO, say that 81% of the newcomers are gone within 30 days, 90% are gone in 3 months, and 95% are gone at the end of a year. That automatically gives AA a failure rate of at least 95%. But the GSO does not count all of those people who only attend a few meetings before quitting. They don't qualify as members. That amounts to cherry picking. If we included them, then the numbers would be much worse. And also note that the claimed 5% of AA newcomers who are still left after 1 year is exactly the same number as the usual rate of spontaneous remission among alcoholics, 5% per year. That is, in any randomly selected population of alcoholics, approximately 5% per year will finally get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they will just quit drinking. And the Harvard Medical School says that 80% of those successful quitters do it by themselves, alone, without any treatment program or any support group. If we subtract the normal spontaneous remission rate for alcoholism of 5% per year from AA's claimed success rate of 5%, we get 0 for AA's real effective cure rate. AA does not actually make anybody quit drinking, it just takes the credit for the people who were going to quit anyway. AA is just taking the credit for people's efforts to save their own lives. And then it gets worse. The attrition continues, and it isn't just because the old-timers all die of old age. Barely 1% of the newcomers to AA get a 10-year coin for sobriety, and only 3/4 of 1% get the 11-year coin. Only 0.5% -5 out of 1,000 get the 15-year coin, and only 1 in 1,000 gets the 20-year coin. The 12 steps are actually a hopelessly bad program for recovery. Cult religion is not a good cure for alcoholism, and AA most assuredly is a cult religion. One of the biggest problems with the 12-step program is the learned helplessness caused by the first step, where people are taught to confess that they are powerless over alcohol. This leads many people to believe that once they have a drink, that a full-blown relapse and total loss of self-control is inevitable and unavoidable. So some people go on suicidally intense binges, thinking that it is pointless to try to resist temptation. Step 2 is just as bad. It teaches people that they are insane, and that only a supernatural being can restore them to sanity, which means that they are helpless and cannot heal themselves. Then step 3 teaches a lifestyle of infantile narcissism and passive dependency, where AA members turn control of their wills and their lives over to the care of God as we understood Him, and then they expect God to take care of them and run their lives for them, and solve all their problems, and wait on them hand and foot, and do all of the hard work for them from then on. Let go and let God is their official motto, their lifestyle, and their approach to problem solving. Then steps 4 through 10 induce guilt in the members by forcing members to make lists of all of their sins and flaws, and defects of character, and moral shortcomings, and confess every intimate dirty little secret to another AA member who isn't even ordained clergy, or even sworn to secrecy. In step 11 you are supposed to channel God and receive psychic work orders and power. Then step 12 tells you to go recruiting, to draft more alcoholics into this madness. There is also experimental evidence that the AA teachings about powerlessness lead to binge drinking. In a controlled study of AA's effectiveness, court-mandated offenders who had been sent to AA for several months were engaging in 5 times as much binge drinking as the no-treatment control group, which got no AA help. AA boosters and propagandists constantly repeat the big lie that AA works great, and AA with its 12 steps is the way that everybody recovers. One way or another, Alcoholics Anonymous AA, or a similar 12-step program, is an integral part of almost all successful recoveries from alcohol or drug abuse. In fact, it is widely believed that not including a 12-step program in a treatment plan can put a recovering addict on the road to relapse. For some people, regular participation in such a mutual self-help group is all that is needed to become and remain sober. The Recovery Book, Al J. Mooney MD, Arlene Eisenberg, and Howard Eisenberg, pages 40-41. All 3 of those sentences are untrue. The truth is just the opposite of what they are telling us. 1. Far more people recover without AA than with it. The good, unbiased, medical research shows that the vast majority of people who successfully recover from alcoholism, like 80% of them, actually do it without any 12-step program, or even any recovery group or treatment program of any kind. Contrary to everything you have ever been told by 12-step promoters and recruiters, doing it alone, quitting without any treatment program, or any support group, or any cult religion, is actually the time-tested, proven method that really works for most people. And the research also shows that AA is actually very harmful. It raises the rates of binge drinking, rearrests, and death. 2. So it doesn't matter how many people believe that not including AA in a treatment program will lead to relapse, it still isn't true. 3. And then just going to AA meetings does not fix alcoholics. It tends to make them relapse and binge drink, and even die. Also notice all of the propaganda tricks that the authors use there. First, there is the propaganda technique of, everybody's doing it. AA or a similar 12-step program is an integral part of almost all successful recoveries. That is a complete falsehood. The vast majority of the successful people recover without AA or any support group. It's what everybody is doing. Then they use the propaganda techniques of use of the passive voice and vague suggestions. It is widely believed that not including a 12-step program in a treatment plan can put a recovering addict on the road to relapse. It is widely believed by whom? And what do those unnamed people know? What are their qualifications? Are they doctors, medical school professors, or salesmen for a 12-step treatment center? Why should we care what some unnamed invisible fools allegedly believe, anyway? The authors also use the propaganda technique of fear-mongering. You will be on the road to relapse. You will probably die unless you practice Bill Wilson's 12-step cult religion. And then the fluff-headed Pollyanna attitude is outrageous. Just going to the wonderful AA meetings is supposedly all that is needed to fix some alcoholics. But since AA has a 0% success rate above and beyond the normal rate of spontaneous remission, that cannot possibly be true.